Hello, my name is Vanessa, and the name of my channel is Gnostic Knowledge. And what I'm doing on this channel is simply reading from a book, but I believe it to be the most phenomenal book I've ever read. And it is called Letters and Numbers, and it is written by a young man by the name of Zachary Hubbard. And you can obtain a copy of this book for yourself by visiting his YouTube channels, Gematria Effect News or Gematria Effect Sports. And in the descriptions under each of the videos he produces, he leaves a link for the book. The book costs $5, the best $5 that you'll ever spend in your life. And I would encourage anyone who happens to come across my channel to invest that $5 in that book. And the information contained within this book is just simply priceless. Okay, the book has over 700 pages. It will come to you via email. Then you would save the file to whichever reading device you're going to use for reading. Also, Zachary Hubbard left the copyright off this book so that you can take it to your local bindery and have it bound into a book if you like. You can also print it out if you want to, make your own book or whatever, but just make sure you get this information, share it, teach it to your children. Try to share this information with others. And I still share the information, but so many people just reject it because they won't put forth the effort to read the information. And this information is nothing that you have to believe in. This is something you can prove to yourself every day, that our lives, not what we do from day to day, our own personal lives aren't scripted, but our history is manufactured. Politics is manufactured. Everything that moves the masses, it is manufactured by an alphanumeric code that is synced with the Gregorian calendar. And once you read this information, you'll find that out for yourself. But anyway, Zachary Hubbard also wrote a second book called Number Games. You can acquire this book at his blog page called GematriaEffectNews.blogspot.com. And when you arrive at that page, the first thing you see is the advertising for his book Number Games. And as you scroll through the page, you will see the information on how to pre-order the book, which comes to you as a paperback book. And it shows you how to order the book within the United States and abroad. So I encourage everyone to seek out his work and find out what it is and share the information. Also, if you become one of his Patreons, become a Patreon on his channels, at the $1 tier, you will have access to both books, Number Games, as well as Letter by Numbers. He will send those books to you in the PDF file format. So yes, I would encourage everyone to look into this work and find out what it is. Also, read his blogs on the blog page. Phenomenal work. He has an older blog page with over 30,000 posts on there, because he had been posting for like 6 years, I believe. And it is called freetofindtruth.blogspot.com. And if you familiarize yourself with the calculator called gematrinator.com, this is the website. It was built by a young man by the name of Derek. And if you go on there, there's different functions there, different titles, but one of the things is called blogs. You can click on blogs and discover other people who are sharing this information. You can discover their channels and their blog pages as well, such as Simple Truth Television. He has a YouTube channel. He also does blogs called simpletruth.television.blogspot.com. And he also decodes sports and news. Chigozie Truth, he has a YouTube channel called Chigozie Truth, and he decodes news reports, and normally his work is done live. But there are several people that are in this truth community that are sharing this information as well. And I think it's such a great thing, and this is my way, reading this book is my way of trying to spread the information as well. And hopefully for people who don't really care for reading, maybe they'll come across this channel and will find it interesting enough to at least listen, and maybe then prompt them to also purchase the book and read it for themselves, and starts to spread the information via YouTube or however you can share this information. Anyway, with that said, I'm going to be continuing on with my reading. I've read from chapters 1 up to chapter 9 so far, and I will be reading chapter 10 in this segment. So, without further ado, I am reading from Letters and Numbers, written by Zachary K. Hubbard. Okay, chapter 10. Who are they? Freemasonry and Rosicrucian order. You hear it often. They. There's even a movie made about them. They Live, where they are destroyed when the protagonist takes down the media. The word comes up time and time again when people are talking about conspiracy-related matters, something that is commonly wrongfully called conspiracy theory, when the things being discussed are truly conspiracy fact. So many people who have conspiracy-related conversations see the wrongdoing in the world and the scapegoats blamed for the wrongdoing, such as men in caves, anorexic teens packing more heat than Rambo, MIT brothers with backpacks posing on the cover of Rolling Stone, and disgruntled $100 per hand poker players in Las Vegas, just to name a few. But they aren't certain who is pulling the strings and creating the mass confusion and chaos, because the responsible parties are something like the man behind the curtain in The Wizard of Oz, operating out of sight in the general public. This leads many people accusing the wrongdoers of being the entity known as they. That is about to change, however, because who they are is very clear once you know the code. And for the record, a conspiracy theory is deemed to be something that has no factual or evidence basis. Thus, what you are reading in this book could never be considered as such, since everything within is evidence-based and well supported, and only going to become more and more supported with each passing page. Let us begin identifying who they are and what they are about with the term conspiracy theory, a derogatory term to dismiss the truth seeker and speaker that is the creation of they. Okay? It was a term coined by Richard Hofstadter, a public intellectual, historian, and professor at Columbia University, and a term pushed by the CIA. Also see CIA document 1035-960, released in 1976 with the Freedom of Information Act, also known as FOIA. Okay, after the very numerological assassination of Kennedy, November 22nd, 1963, which happened in the middle of Dealey Plaza, named after a 33rd degree Scottish Rite Freemason, not unlike Abraham Zapruder, who was also of the 33rd degree and is remembered for making the assassination film of the 35th president from that very memorable date, 11/22. For a little gematria practice, why don't you take a moment to decode Kennedy with the reduction method to see how nicely it goes with a collection of number 33s hidden in plain sight. And in light of JFK being the 35th president, the lone Catholic president to date, decode the name of the religion with the same reduction method as well to see how they jive. If you want to take it a step further, decode the name of the same religion with the reverse reduction method and notice how it corresponds with his age of death, 46 years, and the number of books in the Old Testament of the Catholic Bible, which is 46 in count. Of course, with gematria being a biblical code, from the Torah. It is important to note Genesis 46 begins with a sacrifice, a word having reduction gematria of 46. And in Hebrew, both murder and kill equate to number 46 as well. When you decode Kennedy and Catholic, you won't be disappointed, but you will be collecting some mounting evidence of who they are and how they operate. A pal you will soon need a secretary to help you keep in order. Before I prove to you that Freemasonry in high places, including the U.S. federal government and Catholic Church, is who they are and who they have been since before the United States even existed, I want to show you what happened to this man, Richard Hofstadter, used by the CIA to push the term conspiracy theory, a term that has had a profoundly negative impact on all those who quest for truth. All my good people who speak truth know how it is from the sleeping masses, or what I call the American dreamers here in the States. When you speak truth to the zombie-like masses, you'll hear it 9 times out of 10. What are you, some kind of conspiracy theorist? When I was 18, I used to explain to people that it didn't make sense. They could not recover the plane parts or bodies from the wreckage sites of September 11, 2001, but somehow they reported recovering terrorist passports, box cutter knives, and even turbans. Those logical points would be greeted with the same programmed responses, ranging from conspiracy theorists to mom's basement to tin-foil hat, and right on down the line by almost everyone. I told my family and friends who would listen then, I think the people of this land are under some sort of magical spell, not unlike a tale from a Disney film. At the same time, I tell those who gave the brain-dead robotic replies to my logical and truthful points, no, and are you some kind of coincidence theorist? In the near future, I intend to put out a t-shirt with the Coincidence Theorist slogan so you can hand them out to these people when they cross your path. I'm telling you now, I'm going to have to print a lot. As for Richard Hofstadter, the man who coined the divisive and played-out term conspiracy theory, he died October 24th, 1970. A date with the right kind of numerology for being remembered for tarnishing the truth about conspiracy and for being used as a CIA asset. He also died 79 days after his August 6th birthday, a distance in days corresponding with the ordinal gematria of the word murder. Something you'll learn a lot more about in the chapter on murder by numbers. The number 79 also connects to the label conspiracist, which is a person who supports conspiracy theory. Even better, he died at age 54, relatively young, and a number perfectly corresponding with the initials JFK, as well as the gematria of Dealey Plaza and Jesuit order, the latter of which are the Masonic killers within the Catholic Church, known by historians to be connected to the assassination of Abraham Lincoln and more. Again, Hofstadter's conspiracy theory term was derived in connection to the people who were questioning the government's Warren Commission findings and the media's reporting on the death of JFK from the infamous day in history. Let us now examine the date numerology for October 24th, 1970, which breaks down to both 123 and 51. Because those two numbers point directly to the gematria of conspiracy. Okay, so 10/24/1970 equals 10 plus 24 plus 19 plus 70 equals 123. 10/24, 1970. You do 10 plus 24 plus 1 plus 9 plus 7 plus 0 equates to 51. In ordinal gematria, conspiracy sums to 123, not unlike the breakdown of ABC, which is how simple this code is that they operate by. Can I get a little Jackson 5? And yes, Michael was reported dead by the code. Also in reduction gematria, conspiracy sums to 51, same as Freemason when S is made to be 10, and same as federal in ordinal gematria. Think about Area 51, the federal government territory specifically associated with conspiracy in the 47th state. Even better, the common stereotype, tinfoil hat, shares 51 gematria just the same. And for an even bigger laugh, Reynolds Wrap aluminum foil was released as a new consumer product in 1947, the same year as the UFO landing in New Mexico, the 47th state. And yes, UFO news in the mainstream has always been the work of they, reported by the numbers. As we progress, you'll see just how many connections there are between the Freemasons and the various terminology pertaining to conspiracy through the language of gematria, a largely Masonic language. This is no coincidence. The Masonic network at the top controls this world with conspiracy, and that is exactly why they have programmed the masses to balk at the word, so as not to even consider the truth. In case you are not certain of what a conspiracy is, it is a secret plan to do something harmful or unlawful. Think about that within the context of Freemasonry, a secret society. The word conspiracy equates to 123 in the ordinal cipher. Conspiracy equates to 51 in the reduction cipher. Tinfoil hat equates to 51 in reduction. Freemason equates to 51 in the reduction cipher. S as 10. Federal equates to 51 in the ordinal cipher. Let us not forget that Washington, D.C., the headquarters of the federal government, is also the headquarters of the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry. Very quickly, notice the overlap with Scottish Rite, conspiracy, and coincidence. Scottish Rite equates to 57 in the reduction cipher. Conspiracy equals 57 in the reverse reduction cipher. Coincidence equals 57 in the reduction cipher. And tinfoil hat equates to 57 in the reverse reduction cipher. As we advance through the remaining chapters, I will enlighten you to what coincidence theory programming is. With every major propaganda event contrived in the media, a number of coincidences to go with it are contrived for the gullible audience. In recent years, a clear example of these tactics was the story of the Mormon missionary Mason Wells, who reportedly survived the April 15, 2013 Boston Marathon bombing hoax, the Friday, November 13th, 2015 Paris terror attack false flag, and the March 22nd, 2016 Brussels, Belgium bombing hoax. If you are not familiar with this story, please look it up, and please don't overlook the name Mason. If you decode Friday the 13th, you'll also notice it sums to 223, and that's Friday the 13th written as words. Okay, so let me read that one more time. If you decode Friday the 13th written as words, you will also notice it sums to 223 in the ordinal gematria, not unlike the March 22nd or 22/3 date of the Belgium attack. Again, Masonic in Jewish gematria equates to 223, and the synagogue of Satan, sums to the same number in the ordinal cipher. Okay, the word Masonic equates to 74 in ordinal. The word Mormon equates to 74 reversed ordinal. The Mormon Church is based in Freemasonry. Mason Wells equates to 74 reverse reduction, E as 22. In the next chapter, you will learn how George Washington himself was murdered by the code, not uncommon even for members of the fraternity. Consider George Washington in reverse reduction sums to 74, just the same as Masonic and killing in ordinal gematria. And at the same time, as mentioned, the word murder sums to 79 in ordinal gematria, and conspiracist totals 79 in reverse reduction gematria, matching the amount of days after Richard Hofstadter's birthday to his death. As you'll discover, all celebrities who have bitten the dust prematurely have done so by this code, and it has always been synced with their respective birthdays, from overdoses to plane crashes. Even more, the date of Richard's passing also had a numerology connection to 34, which corresponds with murder, just the same using the reduction cipher. The word murder equates to 79 in ordinal, conspiracist equates to 79 in reverse reduction, and murder equates to 34 in reduction. Richard's day of passing, October 24th, 10 plus 24 equals 34, okay? So Richard's day of passing, October 24th, also happens to be the day that leaves 68 days left in the year, not unlike his August 6th birthday, which can be expressed 6-8. Of course, in gematria, CIA sums to 68. Speaking of which, in the year 68, MLK and RFK, JFK's brother, would be killed by the numbers, among others. That was also the year 911 was made the National Emergency Dialing Code. World Trade Center construction began, and George W. Bush would graduate from Yale's Skull and Bones 33 years before 2001. Adding insult to injury, Bush's July 6th birthday, the 187th day of the year, is a span of 68 days from September 11th. Don't forget, his father was the head of the CIA before becoming the vice president and then president. Ahead, you'll learn how Yale sums to 43 in ordinal, and how Bush II was the 43rd president, pairing nicely with his brother being the 43rd governor of Florida. Remember the Florida recount change that oh man, I'm sorry, I'm gonna do this again. He says, remember the Florida recount that changed the outcome of the 2000 election from Gore winning to Bush? Right. Okay, and moving along. And his father being the 43rd vice president before becoming President Bush 1, or was it King George I? Not by chance, Masonic also shares the gematria of 43 in reverse reduction. But now we're getting ahead of ourselves. Before we spoil too many goodies for chapters ahead, let's decode CIA. And while we're at it, let's decode Mom's Basement too, since I'm pretty sure the CIA made this phrase stick with the mass media they largely own and operate, paid for with our tax dollars. Man, it's something. Personally, despite never having lived in a home with a basement or with my mother since days after turning 18 years old. I have been told at least 1,000 times and counting to get out of my mom's basement, especially when I have shared truth online. Okay. The acronym CIA equates to 68, reverse ordinal. Mom's basement equates to 68, reverse reduction. As for Richard Hofstadter passing at age 54, the gematria of JFK, Dealey Plaza, and Jesuit order are as follows. JFK equates to 54 in the reverse ordinal. Freemasonic equates to 54 in reduction. Dealey Plaza equates to 54, reverse reduction. Jesuit order equates to 54 in reduction. Mr. Hofstadter's cause of death was reported as cancer, which is a common cause of death for people murdered by the numbers. Who would think twice about it in a world where thousands perish this way daily? In terms of conspiracy, the way we are fed, which is the predominant reason for the rampant rates of cancer in the United States and elsewhere, is one of the largest conspiracies of all, and that shouldn't be any secret to anyone, seeing as how the U.S. federal government and its elected officials actively work to make sure we the people cannot even know what is in our food by passing legislation in Congress to achieve this information blackout. Think about it. This is a fact that most people are either oblivious to or shrug their shoulders at. Your elected officials, who you pay for, are working to make sure you cannot know what is in your food. Something tells me if we could find out what they're hiding, one of the ingredients we're not being told about is brain dead retarded poisoning. And please don't start crying that you don't like the word retarded. The word means stunted, and if you're not an American dreamer, you should notice the people around you couldn't be any more intellectually stunted than they are. As they say, you are what you eat. Now, very quickly, let me show you something about the words cancer, chemo, and kill. It's all part of the build-up to the proof of who they are and what they are about. Before decoding, you should know that you don't cure your body with chemo radiation, which only kills more cells. You cure it with eating right. If you're not up on nutrition, you're in luck, because I am. The human body is designed to eat a plant-based diet, which is why we have the intestines and teeth of an herbivore. Remember this. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. And yes, I'm talking about meat and dairy consumption, because animal protein kills slowly by clogging arteries and causing cancerous mutations within the body, which is a documented scientific fact. Take a look at your fellow Americans. How many of them are obese with guts sticking out like a stuffed pillow? How many people are needlessly keeling over from heart attacks? How many people have cholesterol rates twice the normal level? These are the clearly unhealthy results of eating an animal-based diet with God knows what injected into them. Steroids, hormones, preservatives, and worse. Our bodies are not designed to metabolize efficiently or properly. In the wild, animals that eat meat can eat it raw, and they have short, direct intestinal tracts, unlike ours, which are long and anything but straight. Think about what happens to you if you try to eat raw meat. It is definite illness, potentially death. This is why Susan G. Komen loves to advertise with their pink ribbon and the products that give you cancer, such as beef and eggs. It is mockery. Keep eating what kills you and send us some more shekels so we can keep searching for the cure that was found a century ago. He's laughing. Zach is funny. The cure is a plant-based diet. The word kill equates to 44 in the ordinal cipher. The word genocide equates to 44 in the reduction cipher. The word cancer equates to 44 in the ordinal cipher, and the word chemo equates to 44 in the ordinal cipher. JFK was the 35th president, but he was also the 44th term president. Speaking of they, just wait until we decode the name of the cancer charity fraud, Susan G. Komen. The name of a woman who was supposedly diagnosed with breast cancer at age 33 and probably never even existed. An age matching the reduction gematria of ribbon. You'll find that her name in particular has gematria overlapping with Freemasonry in 3 out of the 4 base ciphers. Plus, connects to kill, just like cancer, and more. That shouldn't surprise, considering the capital G right in the middle. For kicks. Oh, I'm sorry, I missed something. Okay, here we go. That shouldn't surprise, considering the capital G right in the middle. Okay, got it. In the middle of her name, Susan G. Komen. And the G like Freemasonry. Okay, now, for kicks, and because it relates, let's take a moment to decode the name of the false charity, which is only meant to steal money from the ignorant and gullible public. The name of the charity is Susan G. Komen for the Cure. While we're at it, we ought to decode cure as well, as it sums to 47, a number you have learned a thing or two about already. Susan G. Komen for the cure equates to 96 in the reduction cipher. Freemason equates to 96 in the ordinal cipher. The word cure equates to 47 in ordinal, and there's 47 degrees on the Freemason logo. Now you don't know why the cure, I'm sorry, that is not what he's saying. Now you know why the cure never comes. Despite the rapid advancement of technology in computers, automobiles, pills that make the phallus pop, and even cosmetic things such as breast and butt cheek implants. It is profit over people, and cancer is big business, as you well know. So now we know why the cure never comes. Absolutely right, Zach. More importantly, when people donate money to this charity, to this false charity, it goes to they, which means anywhere but cancer research. In all likelihood, it is probably being used to fund the next cancer-causing thing our Congress will keep us from knowing is in our food. The next time you see the pink ribbon, say no. For a bit more on conspiracy, before we get to the proof of who they are, in 2016, Progressive Insurance and Pizza Hut released ads making fun of conspiracy theorists, targeting those who seek truth, including 9/11 and more. With regards to Pizza Hut, the company was opened in 1958 and turned 58 years old in 2016, just in time for their commercial that was made by they, Okay. In 2017, FedEx followed in their footsteps, releasing an ad making fun of 9/11 truthers with a commercial about a conspiracy-related bookstore called Conspiracy Books. And in the background of the ad, showcasing a giant "they" poster with the word in caps next to the word "they," it was followed with the words "Control All." Notice the following gematria and pay mind to the fact that the JFK assassination happened in 63. By the way, 2016 is the 63rd triangular number and the first of these commercials released in the respective year 2016. Okay, so the word conspiracy books equates to 68 in the reduction cipher. Conspiracy books equates to 68 in the reduction cipher. They control all equates to 47 in the septenary cipher. They control all equates to 63 in the reduction cipher. Don't overlook the fact that the 2017 release of the commercial was 54 years after 1963. The same FedEx ad, which we'll talk more about in the 9/11 chapter, and same with the Pizza Hut ad, ends with the bookstore employee saying to the FedEx worker, "If your name is even Bill," to which he replies, "Actually, it's William." So, the word Bill equates to 47 in the ALW Kabbalah cipher. And, William equates to 47 in the reverse reduction cipher. The word commercial equates to 47 in reverse reduction. The commercial is supposed to be set in Seattle on the 47th parallel north. The Seattle Space Needle has a rotating restaurant that does a 360-degree turn every 47 minutes. If you haven't seen these ads, they're a web search away, and it should lead you to boycott these companies that participate in this type of deception and mockery. In the case of the Progressive ad, it features two older men in their mother's basement listening to recordings in reverse, and the phrase the commercial repeats is "Lively little locksmith, lively little locksmith." Let me show you why they chose this phrase. Keep in mind, we just learned conspiracy has ordinal gematria of 123. So, lively little locksmith equates to 123 reverse reduction. In reduction gematria, the same phrase also equates to conspiracy theorists as well as mother's basement. The math is as follows. Okay? Lively little locksmith equates to 93 in the reduction cipher. Mother's basement equates to 93 reverse reduction cipher. Conspiracy theorist equates to 93 in the reduction cipher. In the Progressive commercial, where they're listening to recordings in reverse, a stereotypical conspiracy theorist activity, the purpose of the ad is to degrade conspiracy researchers as idiotic propaganda pushers who need to grow up and get out of their mom's basement. The reason they really want the truth seekers to move on from the truth is because they're afraid of being exposed and more people waking up to their lies and their agenda. It's just like what it says in the Talmud. If the people ever find out the truth, those who abide by the Talmud are dead meat. And it is the same Talmud thumpers who call us Goyim, who think we're too dumb for our own good. That makes these ads. Absolutely. They're the people that make these ads. The word propaganda equates to 93 in ordinal. The word recording equates to 93 in the ordinal cipher as well. For one last point about the progressive commercial. When the mother calls on her son, who appears to be in his mid-40s, if not older, hunching over with thick-rimmed glasses and staring into his computer, his name is Tom, not too far off from the Progressive insurance character Flo, who appears in the ad as well. In reverse reduction gematria, Tom sums to 33, same as Flo, forwards. Again, a big part of the ad is listening to things in reverse. As will become understood, the number 33 is a signature of they in their ongoing conspiracy-based agenda that they so desperately want the people of the world to feel the consequences of, but not be privy to. Ahead, we'll cover the gematria of 33 for false flag and pirate, where the term false flag originates from, and how once upon a time the very Masonic Knights Templar were pirates. The word Tom equates to 33, reverse ordinal. The word Flo equates to 33 in the ordinal cipher. On the subject of recordings and propaganda, think about all the recorded propaganda available for mainstream consumption that somehow the sleeping masses don't see through. As I write this book, some classic examples we have are the melting plains of September 11th. I'm going to reread this paragraph, okay? On the subject of recordings and propaganda, think about all the recorded propaganda available for mainstream consumption that somehow the sleeping masses don't see through. As I write this book, some classic examples we have are the melting plains of September 11th that defied the laws of physics with their fiberglass wings piercing steel and concrete, at least according to what was shown on TV. We also have the footage of multiple men in army fatigues running out the back of Sandy Hook Elementary School, and then the shooting being blamed on 112-pound Adam Lanza hours later. Days after the incident, the media said this was because they were accidentally showing footage of an active shooter drill at a different elementary school in close proximity to Sandy Hook while the Sandy Hook shooting was taking place. Somehow, some way, people buy this. As for Adam Lanza's weight of 112 pounds, we'll get to why they reported this. A seemingly meaningless detail until you check the gematria of Sandy Hook. Even better, we have the Boston Marathon bombing, smoke bomb, and firework explosion that didn't even disturb the silverware, glasses, or plates on the tables they detonated by. Plus, on top of that, there is video evidence of people purposefully manufacturing the fake terror scene, including pouring fake blood on the ground, led by a man in a cowboy hat, and yet, somehow, some way, people still aren't catching on to the manufactured deception and extremely obvious lies. Sadly, instead, they're just falling back on their programmed responses: conspiracy theory, coincidence, tin-foil hat. My goodness. For another example of the programming that enforces those stereotypical responses, the fast food brand Taco Bell, owned by Yum Foods, began a series of ads titled Belluminati at the end of 2017, mocking the existence of powerful secret societies such as the Illuminati, or simply put, they. Absolutely. The image shown to the left is the clip from the original Belluminati ad, which focuses on the dollar. You'll notice the series of letters and numbers on the dollar bill begins TB for Taco Bell, then continues with 235 and so on. I want to show you what is interesting about the gematria of Federal Reserve, the Illuminati-owned asset that prints the U.S. currency, and how it compares with the name Taco Bell. How it compares with the name Taco Bell was promoting for the commercial Belluminati. So the word Federal Reserve equates to 235 in the reverse ordinal cipher. Belluminati equates to 235 in the Frank Baconis cipher. Recall, each leg of the Masonic compasses is kicked out to 23.5 degrees, or 235, forming a 47-degree angle. This factors into Taco Bell summing to 47 in reverse reduction gematria. Making matters even more interesting is the gematria of Belluminati in the KFW Kabbalah and the ordinal gematria of Bavarian Illuminati, the Enlightenment organization established May 1st, 1776, just before the American Revolution. So the words or the phrase Bavarian Illuminati, I guess that would be a title. Bavarian Illuminati equates to 188. Belluminati equates to 188 in the KFW Kabbalah. And I'm going to show you guys the dollar bill that was used in the Taco Bell commercial with the TB and the 235 on it. Okay. And also with the decoding of the words there, Belluminati and Federal Reserve. Alrighty. Hopefully you got a pretty good view of that. Okay. In light of money being the focus of the commercial and how many items you can buy with just $1 at Taco Bell, consider the denominations of U.S. currency. The $1 bill, the $2 bill, the $5 bill, the $10, the $20, the $50, and the $100 bill. If you add each value together, it totals 188. And it is the symbolism of the Bavarian Illuminati on the $1 bill that is printed on and that is printed by the Federal Reserve. Case in point, the 13 layers of bricks on the dollar are symbolic of the 13 families that established the organization and the knowledge of the sun, our nearest star, in relation to the 12 constellations. Speaking of the pyramid with 13 layers of bricks, it reminds why Taco Bell was chosen for such a series of ads. It relates to the company's founding on March 21st, 1962, a date with numerology of 86. So 3/21/62, you would add 3 plus 21 plus 22. 3 plus 21 plus 62 equates to 86. The passing of their founder at age 86, who was Glenn William Bell, a name summing to 86 in reverse reduction, and who passed on a date with numerology of 47, January 16, 2010, as well as their logo, which relates directly to the pyramid, triangle, and symbol. Did I mess that up? I think I did. I skipped a sentence here. Please forgive me, but I will go back. Okay, if you are not aware, Taco Bell has a pyramid for a logo, and the words, got it, and the words pyramid, triangle, and symbol Each equates to 86 in ordinal gematria. As for the pyramid on the dollar bill, the I at the top is known as the Eye of Providence, having reduction gematria of 86. And as for the eye itself, you learned earlier the word sums to 35 in ordinal, which corresponds with Illuminati in septenary, also equating to 35. Consider, the Illuminati attempts to rule the mind's eye of the masses with symbolism. And if you want to go deeper, recall that 35, symbolizing I, is a fascinating number because 5 is the third prime, and both 3 and 5 are prime numbers as individual digits. The Illuminati, the phrase "the Illuminati" equates to 153 in ordinal. The phrase "prime numbers" equates to 153 in ordinal as well. Regarding the Illuminati and the eye, the symbol shown to the left is often associated with the Bavarian Illuminati, and I'm going to show you that right now so you can have a view of what they're talking about. The pyramid with the eye right in the middle. It looks like the Eye of Horus from there. And you can also get a quick look at the gematria of those titles, the Illuminati and prime numbers, and what's that said? I see everything. Gotcha. I see everything. Boy, these people are something else. But anywho, let me continue. Notice the gematria of the motto, I see everything, and the EYE, see everything. In reverse ordinal gematria, that phrase sums to 235, just the same as Federal Reserve. And of course, it is money that is controlling the mind's eye for nearly all of humanity. I often say, if only we could get people to care about the truth in the same way they care about dollar bills, y'all. Shut up, Zach. That's funny. So the phrase EYE, I see everything, equates to 235. 235. Okay. Speaking of the mind's eye, or speaking of the mind's eye of the masses being controlled, and them not seeing the obvious because of it, in the year 2017, as I write this, on a weekly basis, as the quickening is taking place, we are bombarded with details of terrorist attacks, accompanied with witness accounts of the terror by people who are laughing and grinning at the same time when they are supposed to be providing details of a terrible tragedy. Absolutely. You would think more people would catch on, as routine as these scenarios in the media have become. For example, who can forget Robbie Parker, the first Sandy Hook parent who was joking and laughing with someone just off camera before being alerted he was on live television, which prompted him to take a deep breath and then act as if he was all choked up at the loss of his child. The word Parker, his last name, Parker, equates to 33 in reduction. Robbie, R-O-B-B-I-E, equates to 33 reduction. Robert equates to 33 in the reduction cipher. Newtown equates to 33 in reduction. And that was the location of Sandy Hook, the false flag. Okay? Alrighty. Moments into the theatrical performance, he asked the general public to donate money through his Facebook page, an entity controlled by they. If you have ever noticed, Mark Zuckerberg, the Zionist and frontman, why did my page suddenly, come on. Here we go. Now I have to start over because my page just jumped. Let's see here. If you have ever noticed, Mark Zuckerberg, the Zionist and frontman for the CIA-controlled social media platform, has the same birthday as Israel, May 14th, which we will cover later. Zuck is born in 84. Zuck, yuck. Israel was born in 48. Okay, the reflections. All right. If you are willing, please look up the 2010 D8 conference interview where Mark Zuckerberg revealed that on the inside of his Facebook hoodies there are secretly hidden Star of David logos as shown to the left, and I will show you that right now so you can see. That was what he revealed. I saw that little clip of him doing that, but that is the Star of David. If you look in the middle, screen was going dark. If you look in the center, you can see the Star of David within that logo. Anywho, here we go. Things such as this should break even the most sincere of coincidence theorists. It is blatant. As for Robbie, the con man Parker, can you imagine losing your daughter, telling jokes, laughing, and then suddenly, after finding out the cameras were on you, acting as if you're sad before asking for strangers to send you money? Notice that in all these terrorist attacks and mass shootings, there is a public fundraiser that comes along with it now. And usually, as part of the campaign for raising money, it is the city name. Wow, I think I messed that up. I'm going to reread it. Let me reread this whole. Let me see. Where did I start here? Okay. Okay, I'm going to start back with Robbie. Okay, as for Robbie, the con man Parker, can you imagine losing your daughter, telling jokes, laughing, and then suddenly, after finding out the cameras were on you, acting as if you're sad before asking strangers to send you money? Notice that in all of these terrorist attacks and mass shootings, there is a public fundraiser that comes along with it. Now, and usually as part of the campaign for raising money. It is the city name with the word strong, i.e. Boston Strong. Wow. This is not by accident. Observe how strong has gematria of 93, corresponding with propaganda. So the word equates to 93 in the ordinal cipher. Usually in these made-for-TV propaganda scenarios, there is a paid-for-media propagandist who is truly an employee of the CIA. Excuse me. Coaching the crisis actor along, such as Anderson Cooper, who shamed all the people speaking truth about the obvious lives of Sandy Hook. Cooper and other perpetrators of fear in the media will often use buzzwords to help these smiling actors and actresses play along to the false tragedy by saying, "Can you tell us about the fear you were feeling?" They love that word, fear. Fear sells, fear controls. Of course, this is an agenda about control. For a little more gematria practice, take a moment to decode both his names, and you'll find Anderson sums to 36 in reduction, same as Cooper. Recall, 666 is the 36th triangular number, and to go with it, Anderson Cooper in reverse ordinal sums to 216, the product of 6 times 6 times 6. Making matters even more interesting, his recorded birthday is June 3rd, or 3/6. This man, along with every other face you see in the propaganda-based news media, is an agent of the beast. Same with the rest of the gang of they. And if you're not aware, crisis actors are a big and growing industry that goons like Cooper speak to each and every day on the 100% propaganda-based airwaves, again funded with our tax dollars by the CIA, which needs to be put out of commission, as the 33rd President Harry S. Truman requested in a Washington Post op-ed dated December 22nd, 1963. Of course, it was Truman who signed the CIA, NSA, and all the other branches of government into existence that now work to deceive us and spy on us on the daily. His op-ed, a month after the killing of JFK, was no doubt written because of what transpired November 22nd in the 33 ritual that it was. Please read it. He clearly stated that the CIA needed to be reduced to an intelligence gathering platform with no other power. Of course, that never happened, and since then, its biceps have only grown. Boy, that's the truth. On the subject of crisis actors, paid for with CIA dollars, which means your dollars, a name to look up is recent history. The name to look up in recent history is Joshua Bitsko, B-I-T-S-K-O, the supposed Las Vegas police officer who began laughing on 60 Minutes, the CBS News program, while describing the room of the shooter in the October 1st, 2017 Las Vegas massacre, where he said he was literally tripping over guns because there were so many in the room. Someone tell me what's so funny about destroying a crime scene, or anything else for that matter. Another name to look up is Dr. H. Wayne Carver, the medical examiner who laughed multiple times in a 15-minute press conference about the supposedly 26 deceased at Sandy Hook Elementary in Newtown, Connecticut. The fact that the CIA and media are willing to put out these interviewers goes to show they know just how asleep the zombie-like masses are, who seemingly have lost the ability to reason or apply logic to what is coming through the screens from TVs to smartphones. How could a man laugh and smile while talking about dead children? How? I'm being rhetorical. The answer to the question, I'll quote the orange Oompa Loompa Donald Trump, who said on October 13, 2017, while pledging money to Israel and at the same time disrespecting the people of Puerto Rico, who he said were looking for handouts, only after they had just been slaughtered with a man-made storm. The United States is a nation of believers. What that means is we're not a nation of thinkers, which is a deadly problem, literally. That is amazing. Man. Okay, Dr. H. Wayne Carver equates to 93 in reduction, and while the letter V equals 22. Okay. As for Joshua Bitsko, his name has multiple connections to Freemasonry and the reported events of October 1st, 2017 in Las Vegas, Nevada, which I'll begin to introduce. For one of many in the reduction method, his name sums to 42, just the same as Freemason. As a reminder, the divisors of the number 42 equate to 96, and Freemason equates to 42 in reduction, as well as 96 in ordinal. Instead of decoding his name further, I will dissect the words policeman, cop, and as a reminder, authority, because routinely these minions of the New World Order hint Joshua Bitsko equals New World Order equals false flag, are appearing on television and lying about hoaxes and false flags that are meant to build the agenda of the tyrants at the top, the ongoing police state, the Big Brother's mission. As we decode, keep in mind, they said the Nevada shooter owned 47 firearms, a familiar number, and one reported by the feds after the ATF first reported he owned 42 guns, the latter count matching the ordinal gematria of gun, where again Joshua Bitsko was having trouble not tripping on the guns in the shooter's room. Please know that across the world, police have always been the agents of they, which is why police exist. If you doubt what I'm saying, pay attention to the next time there is a protest against corporate tyranny. You'll notice the police line up to defend the tyrants. It is clockwork, and it never fails. For the person who knows their history, they know police were first created to protect rich merchants in London. And in every society where police have been formed, crime rates have increased, and not coincidentally, the biggest killers and drug dealers throughout the world are police, and they have been since the time of their existence. The police are your enemy, and not to know this is to be completely ignorant. Seriously, what do they do besides show up to crime scenes well after the fact, offer no assistance to the victims, and needlessly write tickets and shut down lanes during rush hour, causing extra traffic? As we decode the relevant terms, keep in mind the video game and movie character Agent 47 from the series Hitman. Okay, the word agent equates to 47 in the ordinal cipher. Authority equates to 47, reduction. Policeman equates to 47 in reverse reduction. Cop equates to 47, reverse ordinal. Government, 47, reverse reduction. Firearm, 47, reverse reduction. And Nevada equals 47 in reverse reduction. And I, having such a problem reading this time, but I want to read this last part of this paragraph so it'll be in context and you have a clear understanding of the reading, because I didn't deliver it quite right. But here we go. The police are your enemy, and to not know this is to be completely ignorant. Seriously, what do they do besides show up to crime scenes well after the fact, offer no assistance to the victims, and needlessly write tickets and shut down lanes during rush hour, causing extra traffic? That is right. As we decode the relevant terms, keep in mind the video game and movie character Agent 47 from the series Hitman. Okay, now I'm moving right along. The word policeman also equals 74, reverse reduction. P as 11 and E as 22. The word London equals 74 in ordinal. The word Joshua equals 74 in ordinal, as in Joshua Bitsko. Okay? Now is a good time to point out the modern era of Freemasonry. Now is a good time to point out the modern era of Freemasonry began June 24th, 1717, with the Premier Grand Lodge, London, England, on a date with 47 numerology. The word premier equates to 42, reverse reduction. Premier equates to 48 in reduction. Freemason equates to 42 in reduction. Freemason equates to 48, reverse reduction. So, and the date, 6/24/17. So you add 6 plus 24 plus 17, it equates to 47. The word Mason equals 17. To take it a step further, let us connect police and conspiracy. The word police equates to 147 in the Jewish gematria. Freemason equates to 147, reverse ordinal. Conspiracy equates to 147, reverse ordinal. Masonic equates to 147 in Frank Baconis. Mother's basement equates to 147, reverse reduction. H equals 10 and E equals 22. Recall, when Kabbalah is practiced within Freemasonry, it is called Kabbalah. Qabalah. These police agents are used in every Kabbalah-based false flags, hoax ritual, without exception. They are sworn minions of the synagogue of Satan and are used as such because ultimately, at the top of Freemasonry, the puppeteers of the fraternity are the same false Jews spoken of in the Bible. Let us now examine the gematria of Kabbalah, Qabalah, and how it connects to gematria when the Frank Baconis cipher is used. Before decoding, let us examine this quote from Manly P. Hall on the language of gematria in relation to Kabbalah. His words from the Secret Teachings of All Ages are as follows. The three Kabbalistical processes termed gematria. Okay, let me see this one. Notoricon and Tamura makes possible the discovery of many of the profoundest truths of ancient Jewish superphysics. And that word Notarikon, Notoricon, I'm assuming, okay? And I will read his quote one more time. The three Kabbalistical processes termed gematria, Notoricon and Tamura makes possible the discovery of many of the profoundest truths of ancient Jewish superphysics. In case you are wondering what Notoricon and Tamura are, they are specific to Hebrew and have to do with rearranging the letters of given words. So Kabbalah equates to 147, reverse ordinal, and gematria equals 147 in Frank Baconis. As I mentioned earlier, Manly P. Hall earned his top honors in the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry 47 years after writing The Secret Teachings of All Ages. In that book, he exposes the reader to ordinal and reduction gematria, advising the reader to experiment with reduction. What he left out were the reverse methods, plus everything else I have taught you. These people are wicked mofos. Let's now decode the title of this book with reverse reduction. Okay, so the title, The Secret Teachings of All Ages, in reverse reduction equates to 147. Wow. Let us also decode the name Manly P. Hall, recognizing how it connects to the reduction gematria of Freemason, 42. To give credit where it is due, he did teach his readers to make these very simple calculations. He also shared the method for revealing what is special about the name Hall. If you experiment with the ciphers you have learned, you will see the multiple ways his name also connects to Scottish Rite, including having gematria of 57, one of our numbers connected to conspiracy. So the name Manly P. Hall equates to 42 in reduction, and the name Hall equates to 33 in the ordinal cipher. For good measure, you should know the name Kabbalah pairs nicely with Freemason in more ways than one. Keep in mind, Freemason sums to 42 in reduction, 48 in reverse reduction, similar to Premier, and Masonry sums to 39 in reverse reduction as well. Not unlike the number of books in the Old Testament, where 39 is also a special number to the Tree of Life, as we learned in chapter 8. So now the word Kabbalah, K-A-B-A-L-A-H, equals 42 in ordinal. It equals 48 in ALW, Kabbalah, and it equals 48 in reverse reduction, H as 10, and it equals 39 in reverse reduction, and 17 in septenary. On the subject of Freemasonry and police, all throughout the United States of America, there is a very familiar pattern with police stations being built in close proximity to the town's local Scottish Rite Freemason lodge, where from small towns to large cities. Oftentimes the buildings are right next door or just across the street from each other. Hardly ever are they more than a few blocks away from one another. This is no coincidence. Instead, it is because they are essentially one and the same. To be clear, the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry controls all of police across the world, no exceptions. With all Masonic related things, the Gematria tells the tale. Fraternal Order of Police equates to 187, reverse reduction, P equals 11, and E equals 22. Ancient accepted Scottish Rite of Freemasonry equals 187, reverse reduction. How do you think police departments came up with the homicide code 187, as is used in California and elsewhere? Again, these people want to be like God or Elohim, summing to 187 in Hebrew, and being the name used commonly in the 187 chapter Torah. My goodness. Please know this Hebrew spelling of Elohim is an alternate method used by Kabbalists, Kabbalists, to generate a value of 187. The traditional spelling sums to 47. These bastards are just woo! It is amazing. It is amazing. It is amazing. Oh, as a matter of fact, let me show you the spelling here. Hopefully you can see it. Let me see there. Alrighty. I hope you got a good look at that. Maybe you can pause it and God, my nose just keeps itching. I hate it when it's summertime. Sometimes it's just my allergy medicine. Maybe I need a stronger one. It hasn't been working lately. But here we go to the next page here. Okay. The traditional spelling is just below, corresponding with authority. The authority wants to be God, and we the people have let them become something close, which must be undone now and not later. For each day that passes, the power builds and ours diminishes, because this is the steady directions of things. Hello, Patriot Act. Now, this is the original spelling of what was that word that you're spelling? Of with authority. Okay, I believe that's what that is there. But it's written in Hebrew, so you can get a good look at that. And I will continue on, but I want to know exactly what was that. Okay. Okay, I believe that is for. Okay, please know this Hebrew spelling of Elohim is an alternate method used by Kabbalists to generate a value of 187. The traditional spelling sums to 47. Okay, so let me come back over here. Okay, anywho, I'm going to move on here. Okay, we'll expose the police for what they are many times over as we progress, along with the federal and state governments they serve. But for now, you should also know that in reduction gematria, the title of police sums to 33, reminding of the infamous LAPD beating of Rodney King on March 3rd, 1991, an event we'll take apart in great detail in the race war chapter. By knowing the code, you'll just see how repetitive the patterns are of the stories in the media meant to incite racial division, from Rodney King to O.J. Simpson to Trayvon Martin to Michael Brown to Freddie Gray, and so much more. The word police equates to 33 in reduction. Masonry equates to 33 in reduction. LAPD sums to 33 in reduction. For the record, the first police force in England, which gives roots to police as we know them, was known as the Marine Police Force, which ties right back into the numbers we have covered, including 33, 47, and 147. The word England equates to 33 reverse reduction. Marine equals 33 reverse reduction. In reduction, not reverse reduction. The word Marine, 33 reduction. The word police, 33 in reduction. The word force equals 33 in ordinal. Marine Police Force equates to 94 reverse reduction. 94 written as a word, 94 equates to 147 in ordinal. Don't forget Revelation 9:4 is the 147th verse of the Bible, or that Jacob, who is also known as Israel, dies at age 147 in Genesis 47. In the chapter on world wars, we'll learn more about the recognition of Israel in 47 with a 33-member vote in favor on the 333rd day of the year. And in the chapter on NASA, we'll learn just how important the relationship between 94 and 147 truly is. Also pertinent, recall that when you write out 47th, the number 47th as a word, it equates to 147 in gematria. These are significant numbers to the code as you're learning, and police are pertinent minions to the Freemasonic New World Order agenda as stated, and stated again for thoroughness. Now, as for the word they, the gematria behind it in our most basic ordinal method reveals the numbers 58, which you became familiar with at the conclusion of chapter 2. The word they equates to 58 in the ordinal cipher. Recall how this number connects to Freemasonry, as well as Rosicrucian order, where the roots of modern Freemasonry rest. In a moment, we'll discuss the death of King James at age 58, the Rosicrucian and Freemason whose right-hand man, Francis Bacon, has much to do with the establishment of the United States of America. As we decode, recall that Rose Cross is the meaning of the name Rosicrucian, and it is a symbol of secrecy. So, now all of these words that I'm about to call out, they all have the same gematria. So, Freemasonry equals 58, Rosicrucian 58, Rose Cross 58, Fraternal 58, Secret Society 58, Solomon's Temple 58, Herod's Temple 58, Jerusalem 58, Craftsman 58, United States 58, Washington 58, We the People 58, In God We Trust 58, Annuit coeptis, 58. Don't tread on me, 58. Susan G. Komen, 58. Power, 58. Press, 58. Big Brother, 58. Facebook, 58. And you can look up all of these terms yourself and see what ciphers they come up in. And I'll tell you now, for Susan G. Komen, she equates to 58 in the reduction when the S is as 10. So you would open, like when you're using the ciphers, you would open all ciphers. You can see all the ciphers and you would see 58. But this is amazing that all of these words, you know, that are related to each other have the same numerical value. It is just amazing. For you Freemasons out there, did you complete your 3 tracing boards for your first 3 degrees, which are in relation to the biblical story of Jacob's ladder from Genesis? They probably forgot to tell you about gematria when you signed up, am I right? The word tracing board equates to 58. Biblical equates to 58, reverse reduction. Tracing board, 58 in reduction. The word pagans equals 58 in ordinal. And regarding conspiracy theory, this is where our complementary ciphers kick in. Conspiracy theory equates to 58 in the septenary cipher. Conspiracy theory equates to 58 in the Chaldean cipher. Again, we're not talking conspiracy theory here. We're talking strictly conspiracy fact. And these Freemasons at the head of the conspiracy are absolutely up doo-doo creek without a paddle because of the repetitiveness of their rituals, causing harm to the people of the world, and because since 2013 the knowledge of their wrongdoing by the numbers has been exposed by yours truly at an ever increasing rate that is about to reach a critical mass, bringing their reign to a long overdue end. I sure hope so. And I want to read that one more time. Again, we're talking conspiracy theory here. I'm sorry, I keep messing up. Again, we're not talking conspiracy theory here. We're talking strictly conspiracy facts. And these Freemasons at the head of the conspiracy are absolutely up doo-doo creek without a paddle because of the repetitiveness of their rituals, causing harm to the people of the world. And because since 2013, the knowledge of their wrongdoing by the numbers has been exposed by yours truly at an ever increasing rate that is about to reach a critical mass, bringing their reign to a long overdue end. And I sure hope that is accomplished. Oh my goodness. As stated, this reign goes back to before the establishment of the United States of America, which is where we'll now revisit. If you are not familiar with Francis Bacon, we learned a bit about him in chapter 3 in relation to Shakespeare, the right-hand man of King James, who was also a Rosicrucian and Freemason, and who is credited for being the guiding spirit in the colonization scheme. A motto remembered on collector stamps from the year 1610 that were used in England. And I'm going to show you this stamp. I'm going to make it a little bigger so you can see that stamp with Francis Bacon on it from London, England. Okay. Let's see. So, Newfoundland postage, Lord Bacon, the guiding spirit in colonization scheme. It actually says that right on there. 6 cents. You sucker, boy. Okay. It is said Francis Bacon being a man of wisdom and influence, persuaded Queen Elizabeth I, who became queen in 1558, emphasis on 58, to fund the voyages that began the early colonizing of what became the United States of America, a mission completed 166 years after the 1610 stamps were created. Not by chance, secret society in ordinal gematria sums to 166, and so does the guiding spirit in the colonization scheme. That phrase, the guiding spirit in the colonization scheme, when the septenary cipher is applied. So it equals 166 in the septenary cipher. Okay. Also, as we learned, there is nothing arbitrary about the date July 4th, 1776, in light of the Masonic nation that is America, established by the secret brotherhood. Let us also decode the name of the plan for the early formation of the nation, the colonization scheme, a title summing to 58 in the septenary cipher. Go figure. Alright, colonization scheme equates to 58 in the septenary cipher. The guiding spirit in the colonization scheme equals 166 in the septenary cipher. Okay. Secret society equates to 166 ordinal. And the Bavarian Illuminati equates to 166 reverse reduction. H equals 10 and E equals 22. As for Francis Bacon, also known as Lord Bacon, I want to examine his date of birth and his date of death to reveal something extremely fascinating about his legacy and the nation that would go on to become the United States of America. Francis Bacon was born January 26, 1561, and died April 9th, 1626, unexpectedly from pneumonia, COVID-19, preventing him from finishing his written work, New Atlantis. Okay, so he died unexpectedly April 9th, 1626, from pneumonia, preventing him from finishing his work, New Atlantis, a title we learned a bit about in the opening chapter. There are multiple fascinating components here, but we'll begin with the number 99, as Francis Bacon died on the 99th day of the calendar year. As we decode his birth numerology, you'll notice it connects to the numbers 99 as well as 84, numbers both having much to do with the United States of America. So, 1/22/1561, you add 1 plus 22 plus 15 plus 61, it equates to 99. Okay, and then 1/22/61, you add 1 plus 22 plus 61 equates to 84. In reduction gematria, the United States of America sums to 99. And if you leave off the word the name of the nation totals 84. So, the United States of America equates to 99 in reduction. United States of America equates to 84 in reduction. If you use the Frank-Baconus cipher, one credited to Francis Bacon, America also equates to 99. The same is also true of Scottish Rite in LCH Kabbalah. America equates to 99 in the Frank-Baconus cipher. Scottish Rite equates to 99 in the LCH Kabbalah. Think about how the nation began with 13 colonies, and the flag has 13 stripes, and once 13 stars. In ordinal gematria, 13 also sums to 99. The word star equates to 13 in reduction. Also relevant, In the Frank Baconis cipher, what is found on the collector's stamp equates to 909, not too far off from 99. The guiding spirit in the colonization scheme equates to 909 in Frank Baconis. His April 9th death on the 99th day of the year can be expressed as 49, something like 49. The number 49 points directly to America as well. America equates to 49 in the reverse reduction cipher. Washington equates to 49 in reduction. When he died April 9th, it was 77 days after his birthday, a number connecting to United States, secret society, power, and also the number 49. As we decode, don't forget Washington, D.C. is on the 77th meridian west. Okay, United States equates to 77, reverse reduction. Secret society equates to 77, reverse reduction. The word power equates to 77 in ordinal. 77 written as a word. 77 equates to 49 in reduction, and the word power equates to 49 reverse reduction. P equals 11 and E equals 22. Okay, as mentioned, Francis Bacon was known as Lord Bacon. This title has gematria of 84 in the ordinal, as does colony, as does states. In reverse ordinal, masonry also sums to 84. Equally as important, the word Jesuit in ordinal sums to 84. And at the point in history when Bacon died, the Rosicrucian order and the Jesuits were said to be sworn enemies, at war with each other. While that might have been true then, it is very clear they're in bed together in the modern age as allies in the New World Order agenda, part of what Manly P. Hall called the Order of the Quest. Wow. Lord Bacon equates to 84 in ordinal. Colony equates to 84 in ordinal. States equates to 84 in the ordinal cipher. Masonry equates to 84 reverse ordinal cipher. M equals 84 in reverse Sumerian, the letter M. In the reverse Sumerian cipher, M equals 84. The Jesuit order equates to 84 reverse reduction, and the word Jesuit equals 84 in ordinal. The Catholic Church equals 84 in reduction. Again, Francis Bacon was the guiding spirit of the colonization scheme. And the guiding spirit, that phrase, the guiding spirit, equates to 84 in the septenary cipher. On the subject of 84, there is a parallel with the number 40. And again, it is the spelling within the King James Bible of 40, F-O-R-T-Y. That is the reason we spell the word as is today. As it is today. Notice how when 40, F-O-R-T-Y, is written out, it has a gematria of 84. And further, how 40, the number 40, also pertains to the United States, U.S., USA, as well as Old Testament, which is the majority of the Bible, including the King James Bible. So the word 40, F-O-R-T-Y, equates to 84 in ordinal. And US equates to 40 in the ordinal cipher. USA equates to 40 in the reverse ordinal cipher. United States equates to 40 in reduction. Old Testament equates to 40 in reduction. By the book equates to 40 in reduction. Mathematics also equates to 40 in reduction. Using the septenary cipher, his unfinished written work, New Atlantis, also sums to 40. New Atlantis sums to 40 in the septenary cipher. The word Atlantis equates to 33 In the reduction cipher, S equals 10. Americas equates to 33 in the reduction cipher. Speaking of Francis Bacon's written work, New Atlantis, there is something very fascinating about the title that syncs with the number 99 just as well. As we decode, consider he died while writing the text. In satanic gematria, New Atlantis sums to 523, the 99th prime number. New Atlantis equates to 523 in satanic gematria. I should mention the oldest known Freemason meeting traces back to July 31st, 1599. Emphasis on 99 at the Lodge of Edinburgh. In ordinal gematria, the name of the lodge sums to 152, matching the date numerology of the meeting. In addition, Edinburgh sums to 47 in reverse reduction, the number we know well. So the date 7/31, 1599, 7 plus 31 plus 15 plus 99 equals 152. Just like the name Edinburgh, Lodge of Edinburgh. Did he say Edinburgh? Let me see. Yeah. The word Edinburgh sums to 47. Okay, in ordinal gematria, the name of the lodge, which is Lodge of Edinburgh, that would equal 152. Okay. As for his book, it was about a utopian empire. Fittingly, in reduction, New Atlantis and Empire have gematria of 39, matching the numbers of books in the Old Testament, which he had a hand in writing for King James. His alias, Lord Bacon, also equates to the same number in the same method. So, New Atlantis equates to 39. Empire equates to 39. And these are in the in the reduction ciphers. Lord Bacon also equates to 39 in the reduction cipher. His date of death also had numerology of 39, leaving New Atlantis unfinished. So, 4 plus 9 plus 26 equals 39. Not too far off from 39 is the number 139, which is what the name Francis equates to using the Frank Baconis cipher. Francis equates to 139 in Frank Baconis cipher. Okay, this number is very important to Freemasonry. Wow. America and more. If you've ever seen the TV show Westworld, it factors right in, because it is about a land where people live who, unknown to them, the purpose of their existence is not for their own. If you read what is within the Talmud, where it says the Goyim is to slave for the Jewish master, the pieces really begin to fall in place. Okay? The word Freemasonry equates to 139. America equates to 139. Westworld 139. Jewish state 139. Jerusalem 139. The Bavarian Illuminati 139. Wow. Remember, the Kabbalah code, which all of this is based in, traces back to Jerusalem. And better than that, in New Atlantis, a Jew named Jobin, Joabin, who Francis Bacon is sure to mention, is circumcised against. I messed that up entirely. Okay. In New Atlantis, a Jew named Jobin, who Francis Bacon is sure to mention, is circumcised. Assist the protagonist. So I don't know if this would be another word there. Who was Francis Bacon is sure to mention is circumcised. Okay. He assists the protagonist. So once you get the book, you can probably read this paragraph a little better for your own better understanding, but I'm going to give it one more go just in case I'm messing it up. But okay, Now, remember, the Kabbalah code, which all of this is based in, traces back to Jerusalem. And better than that, in New Atlantis, a Jew named Jobin, who Francis Bacon is sure to mention, is circumcised, assists the protagonist. So the word Jobin equates to 39 in reverse reduction. Okay. Better than that, the name Jobin also encodes 666. Recall in chapter 3, we learned about the Psalm 46 tribute in the King James Bible, where the 46th word is shake, and the 46th word from the end is spear, and how Psalm 46 leaves 666 remaining chapters in the King James Version of the 1611, the year of its first publishing, hinting that Shakespeare was indeed Bacon. So the word Jobin equals 666 in the reverse Sumerian cipher. In Jewish history books, it is well taught that the United States of America is a Jewish nation from its inception. As Jewish historians will write, if it was not for Jewish bankers, the Revolutionary War would have never been able to be fought, because it was Jewish bankers who paid for America to engage the battle. If you have Netflix, there is a film you can stream called Four Blood Moons that delves into this subject. So, the title, the phrase here, Revolutionary War equates to 84 reduction. Revolutionary War also equates to 58 in the septenary cipher. Of course, from that point in history up to the present, all wars across all of the world have been funded by Jewish bankers who love the interest war lending generates for them. Have you ever noticed how new rhymes with Jew? Again, this is the New World Order, which is really a quite old order at this point. In the Talmud, charging interest is permitted, something that is frowned on in the other religions of the world. Recall, Jesus didn't have nice things to say about the money changers. A title having gematria of 147, not unlike $1, which sums to 147 in reverse ordinal, as well as 96 in ordinal. For a few last points about Francis, before we move on to King James, whom he served, I want you to see the name Francis connects to USA. I want you to see how the name Francis connects to the USA. As you learned in chapter 3, the name has gematria of 119, connecting to the reverse reduction gematria of William Shakespeare. When you use the Francis Bacon method of gematria, USA also sums to 119, connecting to Orthodox, Star of David, and all-seeing eye. So the word Francis equates to 119 in reverse ordinal. USA equates to 119, Francis Bacon. The name Francis also reminds of the date of establishment for the United States of America, as well as the degrees on the compasses of the Freemason logo. The word Francis equals 47 reverse reduction. Okay. And in Jewish gematria, his name sums to 229, which is the 50th prime, syncing well with America and its 50 states. And in Jewish gematria, oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I did that. Okay. Francis equates to 229 in Jewish gematria. America equals 50 in ordinal. His last name, Bacon, provides the perfect transition to King James, the king who became a Freemason April 15th, 1601, in a span of 66 days from turning age 35. That came in history years after he acquired the throne at just 13 months of age, which should clue you into the fact that the kings of then were no different than the puppet presidents and our leaders of the New World Order today. As for James becoming a Freemason when he did in Jewish gematria, king sums to 66, and an ordinal empire equates to 66. Just the same, and James would go on to build an empire. As for April 15th, a very specific date on the Gregorian calendar, it is the 105th day of the year, which is a number corresponding with the ordinal gematria of Masonry and Francis Bacon, which both equate to 105, as does Zionism, a newer term but an age-old movement, which is the movement of Jewish supremacy. One wonders how much influence Francis Bacon had on King James making this decision at this specific age and date he did. And a better question than that, in light of his Jewish protagonist in New Atlantis, who did Bacon truly serve? I imagine it was the same people the U.S. presidents serve today, the kings of Israel, or the synagogue of Satan. Absolutely. The word Bacon equates to 35. That's in the ordinal cipher. And in some instances where I don't tell you what the cipher is, but you can still go in on gematrinator.com and type these phrases in, and it, in the 4 base ciphers, or you can open, touch ciphers and select all ciphers, and you can see the different numerical values for all of these terms, okay, and words. Okay, so Bacon equals 35 in ordinal. King James equates to 35 in reduction. Masonry equals 350 satanic cipher. Francis Bacon equals 105 in ordinal, and Masonry equals 105 in the ordinal cipher. Okay, for the record, it is recorded in what is known as the Mutual Agreement of December 24th, 1658, absolutely, emphasis on 58, at Lodge number 3 in Perth, Scotland, that April 15th, 1601 was the date King James became a Freemason. In reduction gematria, the title of the agreement equates to 74, representing Masonic. The mutual agreement equals 74 in reduction cipher, and the Bavarian Illuminati equates to 74 in septenary. Alright, for our final point on Bacon, notice how in Jewish gematria, Bacon sums to 96. A number we learned earlier represents Freemason in the ordinal cipher. As a reminder, the word free in Jewish gematria also sums to 96. It isn't hard to see who is really free in the United States of America, or should I say West World. Absolutely. For anyone reading who would contend they're free in the United States, I would ask you how that is. Did you get to choose? Okay, did you get to choose to go to school where you learn about the Jew, Christopher Columbus, who discovered a land where people already lived before beginning the genocide? Did you get to choose what man-made vaccines were injected into your body as a requirement to attend said schools? Tell me, what day was it where you didn't need $1 to get by? If you start thinking, you'll realize this is a slave state. If your response is, well, it could be worse, I would ask you to consider what kind of response is that. What kind of response that is. Remember, in the Talmud, it states the Goyim are a lesser race, and they are happy being slaves to the Jew. Isn't that some BS, motherfuckers? You mofos. Alright, the word bacon equates to 96, Jewish gematria. The word free, 96 in the Jewish gematria. The guiding spirit equals 96 in reduction cipher. Wow. As for King James, he was the first king to unite the three kingdoms of Ireland, Scotland, and England, doing so after the death of Queen Elizabeth in 1603, and beginning the legacy of what is now known as the United Kingdom, which later expanded into the United States, two entities that have never truly separated, despite the lives lost in the Revolutionary War. For 22 years, James was the king over these three specific kingdoms. Notice, 22 years, 3 kingdoms, 2, 2, 3. You bastards. We've learned a good deal about 223, Synagogue of Satan, as well as its reflection 322. Yellow skull and bones. In the language of satanic gematria, James also equates to 223. God. The word James, 223, satanic gematria. See, that's what I'm saying. What is really going on? Hey, these are some wicked fuckers. Wow. Of course, James did not rule any longer because of his premature death, which came 3 days after the 22nd year anniversary of his unprecedented reign over the three kingdoms, beginning March 24th, 1603, with Elizabeth I passing. In light of him dying 23 years after becoming a Freemason and 22 years after ruling over 3 kingdoms, let us decode the word king with reduction and reverse reduction gematria. So, the word king equates to 23 in reduction. The word king equates to 22 in reverse reduction. King James died March 27th, 1625, a date fitting for a royal death. Let us examine. 3/27/1625, you add 3 plus 26 plus 16 plus 25 equals 71. The word royal equates to 71 in ordinal. Now the date again, 3/27/1625, you add 3 plus 2 plus 7 plus 1 plus 6 plus 2 plus 5 equates to 26. And the word royal equates to 26 in the reduction cipher. In more recent times, on October 21st, 2017, the day leaving 71 days left in the year, it was a historic moment when the past 5 still living U.S. presidents were all gathered in a room together, who will be offed in due time by the numbers, just as Ronald Reagan was, and the rest of them, which we'll get to. Those 5 men were Barack Obama, George W. Bush, Bill Clinton, George H.W. Bush, and Jimmy Carter. As our papers often tell us, the U.S. presidents are all connected by royal blood because, as I have mentioned, we do not live in a democracy. We live in a Masonic dictatorship, and Masonry is the order of the elites. One that on that same date the presidents gathered, there were headlines about Donald Trump planning to release classified documents on the assassination of JFK. Remember, gosh, excuse me, my back is killing me. Remember, JFK was the 35th president, the only Catholic president as well. In reduction, Catholic sums to 35, and in ordinal, Catholic equates to 71. I make this point to remind you how the same rituals persist from the time of King James to the time of King Trump. Shut up, Zach. Oh, man. The date of King James' passing is also the 86th day of the year on the Gregorian calendar. He was 86. I'm sure you have heard the term 86th before, tracing back to Walter Winchell's 1933 newspaper column where he taught it was an alternative way to say nix or get rid of. In all reality, I think the term probably traces back much further than that, despite what the history books say. In Gematria, blood sacrifice sums to 86 in reverse reduction, and at the same time, so do the words symbol, triangle, and pyramid when ordinal gematria is used. As we mentioned when discussing the death of the Taco Bell founder, and of course King James is quite symbolic, having his own Bible and all. Regarding his death by the numbers, it is important to point out he died in the year 25, where in reverse reduction, death equates to 25. Recognizing that King James was murdered by the code, as so many in history have been, no, this is the code of they, and a code that persists to this very day and will continue to persist until the synagogue of Satan is laid to rest, which are the controlling forces of Freemasonry in high places. Recognizing that King James was murdered by the code, as so many in history have been, no, this is the code they, and a code that persists to this very day. It is the code of they, and the code persists to this very day and will continue to persist until the synagogue of Satan is laid to rest, which are the controlling forces of Freemasonry, which in high places is the New World Order. Let us now examine how the title King James equates to ritual sacrifice. Then we will examine a recent example of a celebrity being taken by the same numbers. So, the word King James, the title King James, equates to 154 in reverse ordinal. Scottish Rite of Freemasonry equates to 154. In reduction, S equals 10. Ritual sacrifice equates to 154 in ordinal. More recently, on June 8 or 8/6, James W. Hardy III, and yes, W is his middle name, a former professional NFL football player, also bearing the name James, was found dead in the Indiana River. As I covered then, he was sacrificed for the current living King James, LeBron James, during the time of the 2016-17 NBA Finals, who a year earlier had won his first NBA championship for Cleveland, Ohio, on the real King James's birthday. Notice how James W. Hardy the third equates to 154 as well. So, James W. Hardy the third, 3 I's at the end, equates to 154 in the ordinal cipher. He died a span of 166 days from his birthday. That number connecting to secret society. And if you write James Hardy alone, how he was known in the NFL, it sums to 166 in reverse ordinal. As for where he died in Indiana, it has ordinal gematria of 52, connecting to death and Kabbalah. It is also a number that connects to the King James Bible, where historians concur it was released on the date May 2nd, 1611, a day that can be written 5-2, similar to 52. Regarding the King James Version, 1611, as a reminder, that was the year that was the year King turned 45 years old. That was the year the King James, that was the year he turned 45 years old. As we learned earlier, Holy Bible equates to 45 in reduction gematria, as well as reverse reduction, matching the reduction gematria of geometry and Shakespeare, among other things. Another important reminder is that good book sums to 223 in Jewish gematria, similar to James summing to 223 in Satanic gematria. As for the May 2nd release date, the number 52, in addition to connecting to Kabbalah, connects to, connects to authority and government. And here we're talking about a Bible in the name of a king. Even more interesting, May 2nd, 1611 was 48 days before his 45th birthday. June 19, 1611, having been born June 19, 1566. Wow. In ordinal gematria, James sums to 48, and again, the number 223 is the 48th prime. As a reminder, Freemason in English and Hebrew equates to 48 as well. As for the reflection of 48, which is 84, good book has ordinal gematria of 84, the number very relevant to Francis Bacon, the credited main author. Wow. For another fascinating point about the date May 2nd is that on the Gregorian calendar, it is the 122nd day of the year, which corresponds with the word Freemason. In Francis Bacon gematria, ever so fitting. The word Elohim in Jewish gematria also sums to 122, and in Hebrew gematria, it is the word Elohim from the Bible, from the first verse of Genesis, that is the most studied. Don't forget that Francis Bacon was born January 22nd, a date that can be expressed as 1/22, not unlike 122. And I am going to end my reading there for the moment, and this will be part 1 of chapter 10. And I've been reading 2 hours, so yeah, and I need to really get out of this chair because my back is about to my back is hurting pretty good. But anyway, I hope you can muddle through my mistakes as reading, as far as my reading. But I hope that me reading this book will encourage you to go and purchase the book and find out for yourself what I am trying to convey as best, as clearly as possible. And to know that gematria is a real system. We are living under a system that shouldn't exist, but it has been. And I'm hoping that it can be stopped as well. And it can if all the people in the world just stop. Just don't participate in things anymore, I believe. I'm hopeful. I'm just glad that I know about it. You guys have a good day, and please, if you come across this video, give it a like and share it so other people can find out about the book Letters and Numbers, and also Number Games, written by Zachary K. Hubbard. Thank you, and I will see you in the next part of Chapter 10 reading. Bye.